I'm sharing my screen. So in the center of my page here, you just see a box, and this is where you want your focus to be. So what are you trying to do? What is the whole focus of your objective? So I'm going to use an example of writing a research paper. All right, so, and I'm going to show how using this tool can help students kind of organize their thought process. So the title of my mind mapping is going to be research paper. Now, once you type right inside that box, you can then change your font color. You can change the bubble color. You can change the size of the paper, or excuse me, the font. You can make it bigger. All right, and you can also change the size of your boxes. Oh, I saw the arrow. There it was. There it was. All right, so now after we know that we want to create a research paper, so what does our research paper include? Well, we have to have an introduction. So I'm going to pull this over here. We want a couple of body paragraphs, right? So I'm just clicking on this and I'm just moving these around wherever I want them to. And then we also need probably 3 body paragraphs, but then we finally are going to need a conclusion. So I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to move these over a little bit. So you just play with it, make them larger, move them over. All right, so I'm going to go back to this one. We're going to need this to be bigger. So what do we need? That introduction. So introduction. I'm going to make those words bigger. What do we need from our introduction? Well, we want to maybe tell a quick story. We wanted to make our introduction interesting, right? What else do we need? We need history. We need to state a problem, right? What else do we need? Let's say we want to promote a thesis, and I'm going to move this over a little bit. I'm running out of room, so I'm going to move all these over. All right, and let's say we're going to introduce a thesis statement. All right, so that kind of gets the kids thinking on what that very first paragraph needs to be about. All right, so next we're going to have our first body. So we'll say body paragraph 1. And what does that need to include? And let me make those words a little bigger. We'll have a couple of different links from this one. All right, so what can we say about that first body? Well, we introduced a problem in the introduction so we could extend on the problem. What are we writing about? What is our issue? We could say, who does this affect? Who is affected, or is it affected, you guys? I'm not really sure. And maybe we could give, let's say that we type something, oh, whoops, I didn't mean to write thesis, I already wrote that. Well, I can just click on there and I can X that out and say, okay, I'm just happy with those 2 things in my first body paragraph. All right, now we're gonna have body paragraph number 2. I want those words a little bigger. All right, so then I would talk to my students. I would be modeling this for my students. I would just talk to them about, well, maybe I need more in that first body. Let's brainstorm. This is the time for us to brainstorm and change things and see what we like and see what we don't like. What can we add? What do we need to take away? We would talk about what our second body paragraph would need. So maybe we could say, well, what is the cause and the effect of this issue? Let's go ahead and start listing those. We could branch off from the cause and effect and start branching that. We could branch off from problem and actually put in here what our problem would be, okay? So there's so much that we could do with these. What else besides problem and effect? Maybe we could come up with a possible solution and start talking about those ideas. And then finally, we need a conclusion. How are we going to end our research paper? We need a conclusion, right? Let me make this bubble a little smaller. There we go. All right, so what are we going to do in our conclusion? Let me get 2 of these over here. I like it. All right, so we can relate back to our introduction. We can relate back to introduction. Okay, and then we can restate our